is guided by this is a new concept, and I thought that I will make it a focused session on the loving kindness, the right effort, uh, and obviously we are trying to make it more relevant to the modern day concept called law of attraction. I did a little bit of research. Okay, so see what's there. So and that's what I'm gonna do is I call it today's talk as the law of attraction, metta bhavana, and law of karma. So there are three practices um,
It's
that will
good. It's
come
very
together. They are
interesting.
very closely related, and I would try to blend them together, and I would probably focus more on our practice, yeah, where we are heading towards, so that we can have that sort of a perspective that we are what is being currently investigated or followed in the modern day. They are actually picking up the flavor from the ancient practices. Yeah. So to me, when I looked at the law of attraction, it did resonate very well with the teachings and the sort of sayings of the Buddha. Yeah. Although the origin of this that philosophy of law of attraction is bit arcane and is bit obscure, who invented that. It's just it's just a process of combining various philosophies, and I tried to see who the inventor, who the propounder of that was. Is coming from various philosophies, so I don't have an exact name, but it is influenced by some of the Hinduism, and that's obviously uh, Buddha's teaching are central actually in this approach. So I'm going to read what it says. Yeah, the law of attraction is a new thought, a spiritual belief that positive or negative thoughts being bring positive or negative experiences into personal life. The belief is based on the idea that people and their thoughts are made of pure energy, that that energy can attract like energy can attract like energy, thereby allowing people to improve their health, wealth, and personal relationship. There is no empirical scientific evidence supporting the law of attraction. And some people, it's a kind of a debate, all these sort of people, this whole world is about criticism, challenging each other's ideas and opinions, and so on. So we will stay away from that sort of debates and that sort of criticism. We'll focus on the good part, and it very well resonates the kind of teachings from the Buddha. So and I can go through quite a few sutta references as to what the Buddha was saying. Yeah. So and it's a law of karma that Buddha said, like people attracts like people. Yeah. So if you associate much with people with the great intellect, you tend to get endowed with that sort of intellect, and you eventually become intelligent. If you become more immersed with that sort of idea of fear and anxiety, you obviously become endowed with that fear and anxiety and that sort of depression. So this is the kind of a pros, and that clearly outlines that our thoughts and our volition, our intention has got a great influence not only within us but also the people around us. Yeah, and this law of attraction is kind of formulating that sort of philosophies around, yeah. like, it's like a magnetism or whatever we call it. Yeah. So if you do good things will come to you. If you do bad thing will come to you. And this is if you look at the Majjhima Nikaya, number 135, is clearly Buddha said that, it's just whatever you do in this life, in this moment, has got immediate, either it has got immediate effect, or the effect can be felt in any time in this life or in the next subsequent life. Yeah. And that's sort of there is no time scale we can give as to what is the consequence of the deed you have done is gonna bear the fruit. Yeah. So karma is that sort of the law of karma is it is a universal law of the universe, be it a material universe or be it a immaterial universe. So the karma is overarching that sort of a law of action and the consequences. Yeah. And this um, now what we need to see in this kind of a modern day terminologies and that sort of a thing is that they obviously are looking at what is important in our life. And we obviously, all of us, we desire, we want health, wealth, and that sort of prosperity, material gain, that sort of emotional gain, and these sort of things. So this law of attraction is purely focused on those sort of a domain of, and let's say, our everyday needs, and it is limited within that. And in that respect, the teachings of the Buddha goes beyond that. Yeah, goes beyond the law of karma, goes beyond the law of the loving kindness, and it just I talked about the Buddha's core message is no matter how much merits and how much of the, let's say, good activities you perform, um, this will keep you, you are not kind of a, you have not settled your account with the universe for good. That universe will pull you towards it. Yeah. So we are bound by this, a pull of this universe. This universe would like you to stay. Yeah. So, and we are saying goodbye to the we will eventually, when we practice, our path will lead us out of this, realm of all these, sense, fair, and sense, what is called the form and formless existences, to completely be out of the loop of this existence. Yeah. So, and I think we all kind of, yeah, there are certain nuances on that. This may make a little bit of kind of a, it may give that sort of reaction, is that what is this, what is this part? Why we want to let go of good things? Yeah. I mean, these are considered the best thing in this world. Having to appear in the heavenly existences, immerse in the bliss for eons and eons, and that sort of a, and having that sort of an exclusively pleasurable existence, and that is possible with this practice of kind of a, let's say, a loving kindness, or that sort of a jhanas. Yeah. So why let go of all this sort of very very good thing, extremely pleasurable thing, for something that we do not even understand? It's kind of, what is this? What is that that of what it has got, that sort of in place to compel us to let go of all these sort of kind of very precious experiences. Yeah. So and that may puzzle many. Yeah, I suppose even in these community of the Buddhist communities, they won't go beyond this sort of the practice of doing that sort of virtuous conduct. We have this three hierarchy. Yeah, so we have the sila, the virtuous conduct, then samadhi, and then we have the final layer of the panya, the kind of the wisdom of Four Noble Truth. Yeah. So, and people, even in the Buddhist community, vast majority of the practitioner or the sort of follower of the Buddha's teachings, they are limited within the periphery of virtuous conduct, having a good life, moral life, and be wealthy, be virtuous, and be that sort of expect some sort of heavenly existence or some good reward after this life. So they are limited within the kind of a framework of accumulating as much merit as possible, gaining that huge amount of merit, so they will be free of pain and suffering, hopefully forever. Yeah, and that is a very very prevalent, and it's considered that is the ultimate and a kind of a result of our existence. Yeah, so this is what people believe. Now, if you've done enough in this life and you have managed to open the door for the heaven, what else do you need? Why we need to go further? So that is kind of a dilemma we have, is that we have to. There has not been many kind of a convincing proposition to kind of satisfy those sort of people who say that what is beyond that. But at least I think we can easily uh, kind of let's say we are fully convinced that what is this universe, what is the sense sphere, the sort of existences, and that sort of pleasure. We have already gone beyond that. Yeah, pleasure and pain, let's say. And we know personally that the path extend far more than what we can see and sense throughout six senses. Yeah. So that's why, and I think it is a really good, uh, let's say, good thing, in a sense that it will keep us away from the dangers. If you perform a wholesome deed, it does not necessarily say wholesome, it does say positive. Yeah. So positive and negative, it talks about positive and negative, but what does Buddha's teaching talks about is a wholesome and unwholesome. Yeah. So when we look at the wholesome and unwholesome, in Pali, it's called kusala and akusala. And if you look at the kusala and akusala, they link directly to the process of nibbana. Yeah. So the nibbana is the extinction of akusala. Yeah. And what are the akusala? The greed, hatred, and delusion. Yeah. So if you have been freed of these three akusala, that means you have, there is no need to give you any no need for anybody to give you a certificate. You have experienced nibbana. No. The process of nibbana is to be free of these three akusalas. Yeah. So, in that respect, the extinction of greed, hatred, and delusion requires much more than engaging with this positivity and negativity. Yeah. So the scope of wholesome activities, wholesome, extend more than the doing that sort of performing that sort of meritorious deeds and that sort of activities. The wholesome is rooted in the root of is what is wholesome is the what the if you look at the Buddha's definition, what is wholesome is extinction of greed, hatred, and delusion. Yeah, so that is the it goes much further in terms of what do we mean by that. Yeah, so and in that respect, I do regard this as a probably a stage of uh, perf- uh, maintaining that sort of moral deeds, or shall I say the path of virtue. Yeah. So having virtuous conduct, virtuous life is is kind of what this philosophy of law of attraction is promoting. Do the wholesome, do the good deeds, and the good things will come to you, and that will manifest as wealth, prosperity, health, and all these sort of phenomena. They will naturally flow to you. Yeah. So it's kind of you can do your deed, and the good thing will naturally come to you because there is some invisible energy in this entire universe. The law of attraction will pull something out of the string and will give you the good deed. Yeah. So that is the kind of this law of attraction is saying. So it says the similar things attract each other. So, and I already mentioned, if you engage with that sort of people, that you will eventually become similar to them. Yeah. So that's why we need to keep this sort of community of what we call, and I call it, we have got this community of Sangha, and the community of Sangha is actually heading towards that sort of a path of transcending this sensual, or that sort of meritorious, even that sort of sense, let's say form or formless type of existences, to actually be free of this whole uh, equation of karma. Yeah. So it is quite a, I know it is not that easy to conceptualize, or to be able to comprehend, but if we do practice and see for ourselves, all that makes sense because we can directly see what that means. Yeah. So I will go through some of the suttas. So my the outline for my in this talk today is I covered a bit of the law of attraction. I will not need to probably go through all those three principles and seven laws of attraction. I picked up from the internet. What I want to focus of that is to towards the extract from the Buddha's teachings that support that sort of activities that modern day societies are aiming towards. Yeah, so it is really a good thing, and we need to at least appreciate that these sort of thoughts are gaining momentum, and people should pursue these sort of activities. And yeah, there is really a good thing that will come to you if you kind of practice generosity. Yeah, so, and virtuous conduct. So let me kind of then I will go through this little bit of some of the relevant suttas. Yeah. So there is a great power of our intention, yeah, of our volition and our thoughts. Yeah. So and yeah, I like it. I really like this in a sutta. Is Majjhima Nikaya 19. It's called two kinds of thought. Dveda Vitaka Sutta. Yeah. So is Vitaka means is kind of a kind of dilemma. Yeah. So the Buddha is pointing out that where our efforts should be. Should we do the wholesome or unwholesome? Yeah. So this Dveda Vitaka Sutta is a probably is a very powerful sutta, and it directly leads us to that sort of a practice that we are doing, the 2 6 hour practice on mindfulness of loving kindness. And Buddha says, because whatever a bhikkhu frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of his mind. If he thinks, if he frequently thinks and ponder upon the thoughts of sensual desire, he has abandoned the thought of renunciation to cultivate the thought of sensual desire, and then his mind inclined towards the thought of sensual desire. If he frequently thinks and ponder, yeah, if he frequently thinks and ponders upon the thought of ill will, upon the thought of cruelty, he has abandoned the thought of non-cruelty to cultivate the thought of cruelty. Then his mind inclines to the thought of cruelty. So this is basically these are Buddha say that somewhere. I know for a fact that whatever think and whatever we aspire and work towards, that will become the reality. Yeah. So um I think we can test it ourselves in our daily life. We if we strive to become a good teacher, or if we strive to become a good social worker, somebody who wants to become let's say a medic, a researcher, as a professor, any activities that are geared towards positivity. It's just a thought moment. It's just it's like a beacon of some sort of a hope, or that sort of, let's say, our guiding light that always keep our mind propelled toward that sort of direction. Yeah. So it is yeah, and that's why we really have that sort of a prevalent practices that encourages us to have that sort of aim in life. Yeah. And once you have that sort of image or sort of aim, and it becomes your path will becomes far more easier. And it's just all you need to do is to figure out, to find the way, and then you naturally find people who are who will support you. Yeah. So it's kind of maintaining that sort of a positive attitude and having that sort of a engagement with the right people that will lead us to that sort of a. So it's just an image, that the mental image is a very, very powerful, let's say, powerful thing in life. Yeah. So that will keep us in that sort of, let's say, a positive. So the mind does elevate and go towards sort of positivity. Yeah. Because the tendency of the mind is that it has got always that sort of tendency to lean towards negativity. Yeah. So our kind of our mind always remain that sort of critical, that sort of it does not like to think positive. Yeah. So don't know why we are why we have inherited such a deed. Maybe we are in a human realm where all this in the world is in that sort of in crisis. Maybe we have inherited this sort of mind that we don't, or we have been given that sort of. culture to look after our own, let's say, own happiness and disregard the others' happiness. Yeah. So it is, that's why, we need to, uh, yeah. So that's why I want to point that to what the Buddha's uh, teaching is. It's not about, not only about the positivity, it is about the universal positivity. Yeah, so metta, loving kindness, is a positivity towards not only yourself, it is for the entire universe. Yeah. So the metta, feeling of metta, or the loving kindness, is called in English loving kindness, but metta is that having that sort of desire of welfare of any kind of being, any kind of color and race and gender, size, everything. Yeah, it fits the overarching, that sort of welfare of all beings, no matter how much of grudge and how much of your resentment you have, it just melts away. And that sort of metta is that sort of very, very, that sort of a radiant glow. Yeah. When the light, emits, it doesn't care. The light doesn't stop radiating in one direction or the other. It just radiates universally. So in that sense, the metta is that sort of a practice that Buddha recommended to to let go of unwholesome. Yeah. So greed, hatred, and delusion, these are the roots that will drag us in this universe. So metta is a deed that is gonna be that will gonna free us from uh, this tendency of mind of having that sort of greed, hatred, and delusion. So yeah, I think delusion is a little bit more. It goes a bit deeper, but at least it will free us from the greed and hatred. Uh, in yeah, in profound way, I would say that. Yeah. So metta is far more than that. So yeah, I think that is my kind of. I have just tried to capture this in a very let's say a fundamental principle. Yeah, because what people tend to think is that um, our meditation is just sitting in a meditation, and all this experience in a deep jhanas, arupas is we only that is what matters. But all these daily activities do matter. Yeah. So that's what I say. Okay, whenever
Excuse
Vasa.
me, Indo, Nanda's raising the hand. Maybe
Okay,
we have questions.
please.
Nanda, are you
Yeah,
are
Um,
you asking something?
yes, please,
yeah,
Indu.
Please.
Could
Yeah.
you, this is a brilliant talk. Thank you very much indeed. Um, Professor, could you, if you can, explain a little bit further, a little bit more about this invisible energy and karma? Is it related, or are they two different
yeah.
things, or is it
Everything,
the same?
everything in this universe is related. Yeah. So I cannot give you that sort of a very because these are present in this universe as some sort of take the less what I tend to use whenever I have to give that sort of support to any of these ideas. I try to use the framework of Four Noble Truths and the dependent origination. Yeah. So what is the law of dependent arising? Is it says that everything is connected, everything is dependent. Yeah. So what is that? If you got one thing in this, and that even the time and space, dependent origination transcend the space and time. Yeah. What does that mean? That you can do one thing in this let's say in UK, and you can have an impact in somewhere in Nepal or in America. Yeah. So everything in this universe is interconnected in a profound way. Yeah. So your deed in this space, and let's say space time, has got an immediate effect somewhere in the other part of the universe. Yeah. So we can say this is the truth. Yeah, because there is, I mean, and I can give a very scientific explanation. In science, there is a concept called, I mean, there is an experience called quantum entanglement. Yeah. So you do one thing in this part of this, this Milky Way galaxy, and that quantum entanglement has got the impact. If you got another, let's say, connected particle somewhere in the another universe, they can have the instant effect on each other. Yeah. So even the kind of domain of physics is covered by the sort of a interdependence nature of this phenomena. Yeah. So physical phenomena are subset of phenomena that are affected by this dependency. Yeah, interdependence. Yeah, let's put it as an interdependence, and that's why I think it does. There is that invisible energy, that invisible flow, that invisible process. I think ultimately, if you want to dissect that and go down to the atomic level, or shall I say the unbreakable level, and it will always converge to this principle or to this experience of dependent arising. Yeah. So, if you look at the, in this dependent arising, it's just a process. There is nothing there. So what is going to happen is that these are all in a very, very, basic uh, foundation of our experience. Yeah. All we have got is those five experiences. We've got body, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness. And even those five aggregates, we can break it down into three aggregates. Yeah. Because feeling, perception, and consciousness, they are the same thing. Yeah. They are conjoined. So ultimately, what we have is that our internal sense basis and external sense basis, when they come together, and there is a contact, and because of this contact, and all this sort of contact is going to generate what follows after our contact is that sort of all these are this is then karma is generated. So karma can be positive. It can lead to accumulation of positive energies, or it can lead to negative energies. Yeah. So karma is that sort of a what is called the outcome, the process of the outflow of dependent origination. Yeah. So take, for example, the dependent origination is a ocean, or and a sort of let's say a wave, and the karma is the fruit of karma is that sort of whatever flotsam and that sort of things that are floating on the surface on the shore. Yeah. So we are washed away by this dependent origination. And when these are in a kind of, when we accumulate, when we amass and we start to build up, then that brings us all this sort of experience of physical beauty, or the sort of all the sort of things that we see around us are propelled, and they are generated by that. Yeah. So dependent origination is the sort of energy that that fuels this biology. Yeah. So because what happens is that we have got the embryo, and that embryo is just a flesh. Yeah. That flesh has got a potential. It is a potential. It is a potential. It has got a potential to become a human being, and or any animal. What sustains this biological process to grow, to be bigger, to have that sort of feeling, and to become a full-blown creature is that sort of what we call the consciousness, yeah? So consciousness will support that sort of being as sort of giving that sort of food for that biological process to grow and reach its potential. So that is why that is so it is like a software, yeah. We all see the laptops, mobile phone, hardware, all these sort of big things. But these are just some sort of scaffolding, some sort of what we call a platform where these the actual software, the sort of intelligence, the mechanism that makes these kind of things work is a software, yeah. So dependent origination is that sort of a code, yeah. It's a binary code or something that crafts this software, yeah. That sort of and that gives that sort of infused life or sort of functionality into various beings, yeah. So if you take out that sort of the software, it's just a piece of metal, yeah, or piece of meat. It's just a piece of and we are just a bunch of atoms and molecules if we take out that sort of consciousness, yeah. And people think that this consciousness is a mysterious something completely out of this world and it is controlled by some mysterious force. And what the Buddha told us is that this consciousness is it's just a mere phenomenon. There is nothing special about this consciousness. And that's how Buddha brought this consciousness into the overarching framework of dependent origination and Four Noble Truth. Yeah. So when we realize this, the arising of these, phenomena, when the phenomena arise, we can see this dependent origination coming into that sort of picture in this universe. And Buddha saw that is because of not seeing this process at work, it just carries on. It's just sweeping all the beings, and it just it's like a wave that is throwing all this sort of stuff from the ocean into the shore, and we are clueless. It's just happening without us being heedful of that process. Yeah, and that process to awaken, to see that process directly is the awakening. Awakening is that look, this is happening in front of I just saw it. This is what caused me to all that those sort of to continue to create that run over the place and all over the things, do whatever we are doing. It's because of this. It's just it's like we are that is the invisible force. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a bit a long-winded answer to your question. Has that made any kind of given you some sort of a any kind of straight answer that you were looking for?
Yes, absolutely, Professor. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
So
That's
yeah.
excellent.
Now
Brilliant.
there is energy. Yeah. I don't call it energy. It's just a process. Yeah. So that's all I say. So yeah, I mean, I think we should not be looking at the speculation philosophies. I emphasize that dependent origination is not a philosophy. It's not a kind of something that we imagine. It's a process. Yeah, and seeing that process is the what the calls is the Buddhi. Yeah, awakening. Okay, I think so. All our roads lead to dependent origination and Four Noble Truth. So dependent origination is the sort of a kind of a backbone, or shall I say the river that we cross, and when we are crossed over, that is the realization of the Four Noble Truth. Yeah. So dependent origination is that sort of river, the formidable kind of barrier that is keeping us in this road. Yeah. So once we have understood how to cross that over, and that crossing over is the noble truth, is that the noble truth includes not only the process, but how to let go of the process. Yeah. So then we become kind of free of the tangles. Okay. Any more? Any more? I will go through a bit more of suttas if you want. Shall I say anything further? Any?
Yeah,
I,
if there's no questions or
I
Inton,
I had
you all.
a little question.
Yeah.
Is it possible that when we act and that is bringing karma, that it in some part of this universe or this world brings positive for one and negative for another effects, and that is that possible?
Yeah. Well, I would say that we do not have a kind of control over my activity will make that person, this person, I will benefit and other will die or kind of be ill. We try to generally make that sort of intention that let my deed be such that I will benefit from this activity and that person be poor, unhealthy, and die. That is our intention. But karma does not work that way. Yeah. Karma is purely impersonal.
Okay.
So what karma says is that the thing that you do will have a consequence, but that consequence may not be that you were looking for. Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens to karma is a totally impersonal process. And what the Buddha says that if you do an activity by any that activity will come back to you. Yeah, it's like a mirror. Yeah, it will come to you, and whoever the being that is seeing the effect and seeing apparently is seeing the effect is experience his or her own karma. Yeah. So and that's why it's like every being is the owner of their own karma. Yeah.
Okay.
But we are interrelated because our activities we do. That's why we sometimes we join the forces and our positive activity will support all of us. Yeah. And in some activities, we do some activities and that will have negative effect on us. And it's just a process. Yeah. So we think that we are influencing the others. Yeah. But actually, that person did something in the previous hour, days, that that person is getting that sort of output because of that person's deed. Yeah. So that put us everybody in that mind is the forerunner of all that sort of thing. Yeah. Because that person had a bad, evil thoughts, is bearing that sort of a result. Yeah. And the universe will give that person, whoever has got that sort of unwholesome thought, bad deeds, that person will fall in under the bus, fall from the cliff, and a tree will fall down. So yeah, it does, karma does work that way, is that whoever has that sort of activities that is done, that person will inevitably get that sort of outcome. Yeah. So the nature will, nature will do, kind of chase that person. Yeah. We will just leave that to karma. Yeah. So what we focus is our deed. Are we in the right positivity? Yeah. Not worry about what others. We will leave that to karma. Yeah. So
Okay.
karma will take care of that person. They will get whatever they have done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then last thing, but that's what I read your book, said 50%. And when I read the part of Nibbana, your explanation of Nibbana, and you explain finally that Nibbana is related to vibrations that are eliminated, and then finally you are in a very still. And this day, when I read this, the day after I
Yeah.
had cessation again, after what I experienced with in UK, so I'm very thankful for this book. It's great. It's I have not read the beginning, but I read from 160 to the end, and it's very interesting. So
Yeah.
someone asked me, come this book in French?
Well, I'll be happy to find some volunteers who can do
Okay.
that.
For Dutch, I will try to translate it in Dutch, in
Yeah,
Flemish.
absolutely. Yeah, please. Yeah, I mean, if it is of such value to anybody,
Okay.
yeah, I do not know these languages. I only know English and my I
Okay.
do yeah, but happy to support that. And if this project will come to fruition, just contact me and I'll support with
Thank you.
giving that sort of manuscript. Yeah. Great. So yeah, I do have that sort of a I do work in the sort of some sort of intuition. Yeah. So what I just explained, there are some invisible energy, that sort of things. I do not have that sort of clairvoyance, that sort of a kind of a very, very psychic power to say that, oh, I can see, beings appearing and disappearing. No, I do not have that sort of, I have not gone to that practice of, developing psychic potency. But I use that sort of a very, let's say, a framework of Dhamma, because it's a very, very powerful tool to make that sort of a conscious, let's say, um, assessment of the situation. Yeah. So because Dhamma is founded on a very, very, it's a Dhamma is a overarching, let's say, principle of this universe. Yeah. People may say that otherwise, but what I tend to say is that this uh, when you realize the futility, the vanity and the emptiness, and the sort of this universe is just an overhead. Yeah. When you are in the purity, when you are in purity of this emptiness of all the sort of distractions. And when you are being free of all these sort of distractions, all this sort of overhead, that is having to sense is impinging on you, then you can see this, this all these three type of existences. They are just some sort of what is called they are called they Buddha calls them as some sort of noise, or some sort of what they call the exact term, that is called tangle. Yeah. So when you come from a tangle free environment, and when you go into the tangle, you can see all this, that is a suffering, isn't it? You are in a completely clean and a very nice and open environment, and now you are entering into the jungle. That is suffering. Yeah. So Buddha is saying is that you have not seen what is out there. Yeah. What is beyond this kind of all these existences. We think that this existence is very, very good. It's precious in existence. We strive to live every moment in this life, yeah, whatever existence we have. But until you have not seen that part, you don't know this existence is the best thing you have. Yeah. So I have given us in a simile of a turtle and a toad. Yeah. And some people give in different. So there was a turtle and a toad in a pond. Yeah. And the toad like to stay within the pond. in its all it's a slimy, that sort of unclear green pond, and turtle has got the ability to go further and explore other things. Yeah. So the toad went and toad stayed in, and the turtle went to the forest. And when the turtle came back, where did he go? Ah, I went to the forest. It is completely nonsense. What you are talking does not make any sense. Or you are talking completely, is not true. Is false. It cannot happen. There are many accusations that people make for the things because they haven't seen it. Yeah. So we just need to say that, okay, I'm fine. If you think that is that is what you think, absolutely, please stay with your your concept and ideas. But there is such a thing called cessation of existence. Yeah, that domain where all the sort of tangles and that's vibrations are free. Yeah, so there is no such, no ripples, no tangles, no kind of no five aggregates. Yeah, even the five aggregates are these are vibration. Yeah, so we can be in that sort of state for a short time, and it gives you that sort of very immense relief. Yeah. Yeah, and this is what we call the emerging from the Nirodha, gives that sort of a glimpse that what is beyond. Yeah, and all we need to do is try to go there that side and go often. Yeah, and what the Buddha found was all these uh, sense sphere existences, formless existences, form existences. Before the Buddha, they thought that the ultimate the freedom, or what is it? They used to call moksha, that sort of some sort of liberation, uh, ultimate freedom. Yeah, something that frees. These philosophies, they understood that the birth is suffering, having to go through pain is suffering, and taking dying is suffering. But they conceptualize that there is such an domain, a dimension of freedom from that. Yeah. So they were imagining, yeah, and they were saying that the way to realize that freedom is to be united with that sort of let's say overarching experience that does not go undergo all these sort of these various experiences. Yeah. So they were falling into the trap of philosophies. Yeah, they were imagining. And what the Buddha says, look at the sutta number 1, Brahmajala Sutta. All there are 62 different views of how this world arises. Yeah, and how those philosophies arise, how these concepts arise, and in that Brahmajala Sutta is Buddha says that any philosophy, any sort of attempt by people to imagine or trying to achieve is the very barrier that will tangle them in the links of dependent origination. It is just a reaction. All they are doing is reacting to this phenomena. And only Buddha can discover this. Yeah, only the Buddhas. It's not something other people have already discovered. Only Buddha, after realizing that this fact, then that person is called Buddha. Yeah. So it's not that other people discover that, and if other people discover that, then that person is called Buddha. Yeah. So whoever discovered this path, this process is called Buddha. Yeah. So that's a bit of yeah. I don't think it's the other this way around. Yeah. It's not that the Buddha invented this. It's that Buddha saw that, after seeing that, then he's called Buddha. Yeah. So he's the first person to directly see this and find out where this tangle lies. Yeah. Where we get carried away. And that's how we, kind of, and that is the way out of this complete sphere of existence. And I know there are quite a challenge around this. People say, if we let go of this reaction, is it not annihilation? Is it not a kind of extinction? Is it not the extinction of all that we have got in this world? So there is a very, very sharp reaction to letting go. Yeah. So abandoning is considered annihilation, and that's kind of reactions have stopped many beings to enter the cessation. Yeah. So cessation is that sort of I don't care attitude. Ping, bang. Yeah. So yeah, whatever happens, if I die, doesn't matter. It's just a concept. Yeah. So mind will trap us, keep us in that sort of a domain of fear and anxiety and that sort of, and yeah, then what we realize that all this fear, anxiety, and all these are the tangles, all these are the byproduct of our mind. Yeah. Yeah. Any further thing to cover? I that our time is running close to 11 o'clock. So what should I do? So should I cover some of these practices, or what was it?
We don't have much time now. Actually, it's 4 minutes. So
Yeah.
I hope that yeah, at this point we are so much getting the inspiring thought from Indo. And then the thing is, we understand that the law of attraction is not just about energy. It's not just blindly believe that whatever we project on our thought and put a lot of imagination, we can benefit for the wholesome way. The wholesome way is run from the mind, and it's important for your attention and your intention of is really wholesome or unwholesome. This is really, we have to understand the view we are taking. Is a personal view and starting with the craving, or the view is seen, the dependent origination is not just the energy flow, it's together how the mind react to all the phenomena and keep letting go, and letting go.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
appreciate so much for today. We talk about this energy, vibration, and this kind of modern way of describing
Yeah.
our attention and intention. And hopefully, Indo, you can come up to a more scientific way to explain
Yeah, it's a really
our
positive move.
karma, because this is
Yeah,
what the people are looking for. Because nowadays,
yeah.
everyone is talking about the
People are
energy
suffering.
vibration.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And people are really suffering, and this, and it is, they might say it is a gimmick, but having that sort of positivity is really good thing. Yeah. So yeah, and the people who say, where is your basis? How do you prove that put this positive thinking will give you $1 million lottery or a nice car? They will not manifest by just your thought. But what we're saying is that you need to focus on wholesome, and the wholesome activities, you are owner of your karma. Yeah, so wholesome activity will bring wholesome karma, wholesome results, and you need to practice generosity. Yeah, and I always say you never become poor by giving. Yeah, so give away your stuff, and wealth will come back to you. Yeah, that is the only way to become wealthy, and without any greed. Yeah, so give away anything you and don't worry. By giving you will never be poor by giving away. Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
the
I
poor in
think
the material side, the poorest will
no.
never be poor with the Dhamma.
You can test it yourself. Yeah. By giving your money, by giving donation, you never become poor. Money will come to you. Absolutely. Yeah. This is not a kind of a speculation. Try that. Yeah. So obviously you need to maintain your budget. Don't give don't give money that you have left for your own food, but give away after you have some surplus. Yeah. So that
Yes,
money will come to you in
yes,
a good
yes.
way.
Yes, of course. Dana, we can not just talk about money, we can talk about the Dharma sharing, even to have a smile, as what Pandit Ramsey keeps saying, even the smiling, the help
Absolutely.
of the elderly, we have all the ways to give the Dana. Generosity is really bring up our wholesome mind, but unconditionally, not expect the result of giving you a lot of benefit. So it's such a inspiring thought from Indu. And then he raised the good questions to us. So why we have to hold on this existence? Why we are not seeking whatever beyond this existence? This is a good question for all of you to have the insight. What is beyond this existence? This is what the Buddha is guiding us in the path of Nibbana. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to have a little bit sharing. I think I'm going to post it. So should we do the sharing
Yeah. Okay.
for all of us? So Anthony, may sufferings one
May
be
suffering
sufferings free, and the
free
fear struck
and the fear
be
struck
be.
fearless be.
May the
May
grieving share all
grieving share
grief,
all grief,
and may all
and
beings
all
find
beings
relief.
find relief.
May all beings
All
share this
beings share
merit
this
that we
merit
have
that
thus
we have thus
acquired
acquired
for the
for the
acquisitions of
acquisition
all
of
kinds
all
of
kinds of
happiness.
happiness.
May being
May being
inhabited
inhabiting
space and earth,
space and earth,
Devas and
devas
Nagas of
and
mighty
nagas of mighty
power,
power,
share this
share
merit
this
of
merit
ours.
of ours.
May they
May
long
they long
protect the
protect
Buddha's
the Buddha's
dispensation.
dispensation.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. But for next week, there's an announcement because Tono is traveling to London. So next week we have a break. So we don't have the Dharma talk from Tono for next week, the next week of March 8th. So we will continue the next week for the Dharma talk from Tono. Then I come after Tono, okay? So thank you for all your attention to
Thank
here,
you.
and then continue on. Thank you for your good practice in the
Thank you.
Dharma. Thank you.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.